The Central Energy Fund says it's in the process of rebuilding its strategic crude oil reserves, sold to cushion motorists against the high fuel price. Government sold strategic oil reserves to fund measures to curb fuel prices that include the reduction in the fuel levy. The chairperson of the Central Energy Fund, Ayanda Noah, says they will accumulate more oil reserves as the prices continue to decline. SABC News economics editor Tshepo Mongoai spoke to Ayanda Noah about the role of the CEF to ensure the security of fuel supply in the country.
I think for us to really understand what the Central Energy Fund is about, we first really need to go back and think about the whole economy and what it is that is a challenge in the economy. So if you look at the current realities of the triple challenge that the government has to worked through and try and resolve and find a solution. We've got unemployment, which we know is very high in the country currently. We have inequality, which is really shocking if you look at, globally where we are as a country. We are the most unequal country in the whole world. And also, if you look at just, poverty all around us, it really is shocking. And those are some of the things that the government has to work through and find solutions to, of course, together with everybody else in South Africa. So our role really in all of that is to support government in ensuring security of supply. We have about 5 subsidiaries in under the CEF group of companies. We've got African Exploration and Mining and Finance Company. We've got PASA, we've got IGES, we've got Strategic Fuel Fund, and we also have PetroSA. So all of those companies in totality are there really to support government in ensuring that there is security of supply in the country. So I would say in a nutshell, really, that is what Central Energy Fund is all about. And it's also very important for us that in doing what we do, we support what the government wants to address.
The global oil consumption has outpaced supply in recent years. As a country, can we say that there is enough security of supply?
So in that regard, you would know that in South Africa we've got 6 refineries, and I think at the moment, out of the 6 refineries that we have, only 1 is working. So essentially it means that we are importing our products. Now, from a security of supply point of view, our view and role is to ensure that there is security of supply indeed. Now, if you look at importing, products from a security of supply point of view, that is actually a concern for us because it means that, for starters, a lot of the jobs are actually exported because we don't have people that are working at the refineries because the refineries have actually closed down. But not only is that an issue, even downstream, you find that when you have a refinery, you also have other byproducts which are actually used in the other downstream facilities. And it means that when we don't have our own refineries working, all of those products all of a sudden have to be imported. So it means that that whole value chain, the employment is actually outsourced, it's exported. And therefore that doesn't support government in terms of getting your unemployment down. So it's really important that we look at those things when we consider the oil and gas infrastructure, when we consider where we should be as a country in terms of the security of supply, and making sure that from a safe group of companies we actually support government in having a real handle on the security of supply.
Are there risks of being overly reliant on imports?
Oh, certainly. I mean, as I said, only 1 out of 5 refineries currently works. So it means that we have to rely more on importing products into the country. So essentially, that is really tantamount to outsourcing your security of supply mandate in a sense, because it means that you are importing all the products. So I think if you really want to have a good handle and a good grip of containing your security of supply, you really need to have a big bulk of it residing here in the country. So you have to have a considerable amount of refining capacity that still stays with the country. Not only will it ensure that you have the products for the market, but it also means that you would also keep the jobs of South Africans who are currently working in that value chain. So it actually is a very important role.
The recent measures to cushion consumers against high petrol prices have forced your organization to liquidate some of your strategic oil reserves in order to cut the fuel levy. How much did you sell in terms of volumes?
I don't have the number off the top of my head now, but what is important though to note is that we were able to give relief for a couple of months, and I think that was really important from that point of view. So having that strategic stock for us actually enabled us to give some relief. Yes, of course, it wasn't permanent. It didn't go for a very long time, but it certainly did provide the relief that the consumers were looking for. And I think it's one of those tools that we then have in terms of the security of supply, to have that lever that we can use so that we can protect the consumers of South Africa.